What if I told you there's a way to deal with numbers that are too big to handle? You know, like the number of grains of sand on all the beaches in the world. Or the number of stars in the universe. These numbers are so huge that they're hard to even imagine. But what if you could break them down into smaller, more manageable pieces? That's where logarithms come in. You'll learn how to use logarithms to make huge numbers smaller and more understandable. Let's get started. Think of a logarithm like a special kind of ruler. You know, the kind that helps you measure really long things. Like the distance from the Earth to the Sun. If you tried to use a regular ruler, it would be way too short. But with a logarithmic ruler, you can break down that huge distance into smaller, more manageable pieces. It's like a zoom lens for numbers. You can use it to look at really big numbers and see them in a whole new way. Let's take a closer look at how this works. So, how do logarithms actually work? Well, let's start with the concept of exponential functions. You know, like 2 to the power of 3, or 4 to the power of 5. These functions help us understand how numbers grow and change. And logarithms are like the opposite of exponential functions. Instead of growing, they help us shrink huge numbers down to size. Let's break it down step by step. If you have a huge number, like 1000, you can use a logarithm to find the power that got you there. Like, what power of 10 gets you to 1000? The answer is 3, because 10 to the power of 3 is 1000. Make sense? Let's try an example. Suppose you have a huge number, like 1 million. You can use a logarithm to break it down into smaller pieces. Like, what power of 10 gets you to 1 million? The answer is 6, because 10 to the power of 6 is 1 million. Now, let's see what happens when we use a logarithm to shrink this huge number down to size. We get a much smaller number, like 6. That's a lot easier to handle, right? You can use this technique to deal with all sorts of huge numbers, from the number of atoms in a grain of sand to the number of stars in the universe. So, why do logarithms matter? Well, they're used in all sorts of real-world applications, from science and engineering to finance and computer science. For example, scientists use logarithms to study the growth of populations, like the number of bacteria in a petri dish. They also use logarithms to understand the behavior of complex systems, like the weather or the stock market. And in computer science, logarithms are used in algorithms for searching and sorting huge datasets. You'll see logarithms everywhere, once you start looking for them. So, what did we learn today? We learned that logarithms are like a special kind of ruler that helps us deal with huge numbers. We learned how to use logarithms to break down huge numbers into smaller, more manageable pieces. And we learned why logarithms matter, from science and engineering to finance and computer science. Here are the key points. Asterisk logarithms help us deal with huge numbers. Asterisk logarithms are like the opposite of exponential functions. Asterisk logarithms are used in all sorts of real-world applications. Next time, we'll explore how logarithms are used in machine learning and artificial intelligence. You'll learn how to use logarithms to build smarter, more efficient algorithms. It's going to be a wild ride, so be sure to subscribe and join us next time. Don't miss out on the fun.